Penguin Random House Audio presents Women and Money by Suze Orman. Read for you by Nancy Linari. Introduction. When this book was first published in 2007, I was convinced that women were finally ready to focus on being powerful with their money. Indeed, many women heard the call. The book connected with a few million readers. It reached the top of the New York Times bestseller list, and tens of thousands of women took the lessons of the book to heart and forged healthy and strong relationships with their money. But in the years since, I've come to realize that many more women, even some who bought the book, continued to ignore their issues with money, or they struggled to make confident decisions that would help them achieve lasting security. I was very confused by this. What was preventing women from being as powerful with money as they were in other areas of their lives? I have long said that self-worth determines one's net worth. When you are silent or silenced, it's very hard to get in touch with your self-worth. It is only when you speak your truth that you can be truly powerful. Starting in the fall of 2017, women began to speak their truth, and it suddenly started to make sense to me. When women in the entertainment industry bravely came forward and shared their experiences of sexual harassment, it was a harrowing, galvanizing moment. That was soon followed by widespread reports of women in media being mistreated. In early 2018, came the female athletes who were able to speak truth to the doctor who had abused them years earlier, when they were vulnerable children. A movement began. #MeToo, and then another. #TimesUp. Women who for years silently carried the ache of shame and fear were now courageously standing in their truth and speaking out. Other women were speaking out on behalf of wage equality and fairness in the workplace. I am in awe of the women who have found their voices and are creating a safe space for others to speak up. They have ignited a national reckoning in which women are determined to demand more for themselves and from themselves. This movement will empower women for generations to come. There is no turning back. It was against this backdrop of women engaging from a place of power and action that I decided now was the time to restart the conversation about women and money. I truly believe that the promise of strength and security that is at the heart of women and money is more timely now than ever before. I offer this book to all of you who are ready to step up, own your power, and take control of your financial life. Let's get to work on building a life where you truly become the strong, smart, and secure women you were all born to be. That is my wish for each and every one of you. Suze Orman, September 2018. Chapter 1. Imagine What's Possible. When Women and Money was first published, it was my 8th book. All my previous books were written with the belief that gender is not a factor on any level in mastering the nuts and bolts of smart financial management. Women can invest, save, and handle debt just as well and skillfully as any man. I still believe that. Why would anyone think differently? So imagine my surprise when I learned that some of the people closest to me in my life were in the dark about their own finances, clueless, or in some cases, willfully resisting doing what they knew needed to be done. I'm talking about smart, competent, accomplished women who present a face to the world that is pure confidence and capability. Do you mean to tell me that I, Suze Orman, who make my living solving the financial problems of total strangers, couldn't spot the trouble brewing so close to home? I don't think I'm blind. I just think that these women became very, very good at hiding their troubles from me. Why not? They had years of practice hiding them from themselves. It began with a friend, a very high-powered businesswoman who handles millions and millions of dollars a year, who refused to sign will and trust documents I'd helped her prepare. I can't tell you why, but those papers sat on her desk for 3 years. She clearly had some kind of block that prevented her from simply signing her name and having the documents notarized. Then another friend, a woman with some amazing professional credentials, broke down and confessed that she had rung up such staggering bills over the years that she was too terrified to tell anyone and had no idea how to pay them off. Not long after, I heard from yet another friend who had finally woken up to the fact that her employer was paying her significantly less than every other executive of comparable rank in her company. Her division was one of the most profitable and consistent earners for the company, but still she just accepted the minimal increases her boss would hand her every year at review time. Upon further investigation, I learned that so many women in my life, friends, acquaintances, readers, people who'd been fans of my TV show and appearances, all had this stumbling block in common, an unknown factor that prevented them from doing the right thing with their money. Do you find yourself identifying with some of these emotions and actions? My experience is that if you are honest, you will answer yes. And there are many reasons why you are choosing to hold yourself back. Maybe it is your fear of the unknown. Maybe precisely because you hold it together in every other part of your life, you have a little streak of rebellion when it comes to money. Or maybe you just feel that things have gotten so far out of hand, you are embarrassed to ask for help and reveal just how much you don't know. What is important to understand is that this stumbling block is exhibited not only by women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, but by women of all ages. Can I just act my age for a moment? I am 67 years old. I have lived through the transformation of women's roles at home, in society, and in the workplace. When I am with women in their 20s and 30s, what I love the most is that you aren't asking for equality. You expect it. You aren't doubting your talents relative to men. You know you've got what it takes. You seek relationships for their emotional possibilities, not their economic practicality. You don't need to be convinced of your worth. You own it, loud and proud. Amazing. Now, here's what I don't love. Like your mothers, aunts, and grandmothers, you share with me how confused and powerless you are with your money. You refuse to get involved with your money until some crisis occurs, and then you act out of fear. Women of all ages have the horrible habit of thinking money is just too complicated to master. You give up without even trying. You could not be more wrong. It is not a question of intelligence. You absolutely have what it takes to understand what you should be doing. A book with the title Women and Money must begin with the story of how far women have come financially. It's not only a remarkable tale of social progress, it's a reminder for us that changes that take place on a personal level, every day in small doses, add up to dramatic societal and cultural shifts over time. Women today make up nearly half of the total workforce in this country. Over the past 40 years, women's earnings have more than quadrupled. Women in the U.S. are the decision makers for about 40% of invested money. That works out to more than $11 trillion. Yes, trillion. 51% of all professional and managerial level workers.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?